On my anniversary, my family never showed up. Confused, I called my dad. He laughed. Oh, we had more important plans. I stayed silent and posted a photo of my amazing anniversary party with a caption thanking my real family. Hours later, my guardian saw it and showed up, furious that I made them look bad. I, 29M, stared at the empty banquet hall I'd reserved for my 5th wedding anniversary. The table sat decorated with my wife's favorite flowers, untouched plates waiting for guests who never came. My phone showed no missed calls, no apologetic texts explaining tardiness. Just silence. My wife sat across from me, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She'd spent weeks helping me plan this celebration, inviting both our families for what was supposed to be a milestone moment. The caterers had already started packing up the untouched food, shooting us sympathetic glances. I decided to call my dad, thinking maybe there was some emergency I didn't know about. When he answered, his voice carried that casual tone that immediately set me on edge. I asked him where everyone was, explaining how we'd been waiting for over an hour. His response hit me like a physical blow. He laughed, actually laughed, before telling me they'd made other plans. Something more important had come up, he said. My sister was hosting a barbecue at her new house, and the whole family had decided that was a better way to spend their Saturday evening. More important than my anniversary. More important than plans they'd confirmed just days earlier. I asked him if he was serious, if they'd really chosen a casual barbecue over an event they knew meant everything to me. He brushed off my concern, saying I was being dramatic and that anniversaries happened every year. My sister's housewarming was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, apparently. The casual cruelty in his voice made something snap inside me. I hung up without another word. My wife reached across the table, taking my hand as she saw the expression on my face. She asked what he'd said, and when I told her, her own face crumbled. She'd been looking forward to this night for months, had bought a new dress specifically for the occasion. Her parents lived across the country and couldn't make it, so my family was supposed to be our family for the evening. Instead of wallowing, I made a decision. I stood up and walked over to one of the photographers I'd hired for the event. I asked him to take pictures of us anyway, to capture what was supposed to be our celebration. If my biological family couldn't be bothered to show up, then we'd make our own memories. The photographer, a kind older man, seemed to understand immediately. He started snapping photos of us at our decorated table, catching genuine moments of laughter as we tried to salvage the evening. The catering staff, probably feeling sorry for us, brought out the full spread anyway, and even joined us for a few group shots when I asked. That's when inspiration struck. I gathered everyone who was there. The photographer, the 3 catering staff members, even the hall manager who'd been apologetically refunding part of our deposit. I explained the situation and asked if they'd mind being part of something special. They all agreed without hesitation. We spent the next hour creating the illusion of the perfect anniversary party. The photographer captured shots of me and my wife surrounded by our guests, everyone laughing and raising glasses in celebration. The catering staff played their roles perfectly, acting like beloved family members sharing in our joy. By the time we left, I had dozens of photos that told the story of an incredible anniversary celebration surrounded by people who genuinely cared about us. The next morning, I carefully selected the best photos and crafted a social media post. I thanked my amazing family for making our anniversary so special, gushing about how touched I was that these wonderful people had taken time out of their busy schedules to celebrate with us. I made sure to tag several family members who'd skipped our event, ensuring they'd see it in their feeds. The responses started pouring in immediately. Distant relatives and friends commented about how beautiful everything looked, how lucky we were to have such a loving family. Coworkers shared their congratulations. Even neighbors from our old apartment complex chimed in with heart emojis and celebration messages. I watched the likes and comments climb while sitting at work Monday morning, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. The photos really did look like we'd had the perfect celebration, surrounded by people who loved us. That's when my phone started ringing. My mom called first, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. She asked me what I thought I was doing, posting pictures like that when I knew perfectly well that family hadn't been there. I told her the people in the photos were more family to me than the people who'd abandoned us for a barbecue. She accused me of being manipulative, of trying to make them look bad on social media. I pointed out that I'd never said anything untrue in my post. I had thanked the people who actually showed up to celebrate with us. If that made them look bad, maybe they should consider why. She hung up on me. My sister called next, absolutely furious. She'd seen the post and the comments, noticed how people were asking about family members they expected to see in the photos. She demanded I take the post down immediately, claiming I was embarrassing the entire family. I reminded her that she'd made the choice to prioritize her barbecue over my anniversary. I'd simply chosen to celebrate with people who actually wanted to be there. She started screaming about how I was making them all look like terrible people. The irony wasn't lost on me. My dad called last, his earlier casual tone replaced by genuine anger. He accused me of being vindictive and childish, of airing our family business on social media for everyone to see. I reminded him of his exact words from Saturday night, how he'd laughed while telling me they had more important things to do. Now, suddenly, my feelings mattered. Now they cared about family relationships. By Tuesday evening, I started getting visitors. My mom showed up first, ringing our doorbell repeatedly until I finally answered. She pushed past me into the house, demanding we sit down and talk about this like adults. She was furious about the social media post, but beneath the anger, I could see something else: embarrassment. She'd been fielding calls and messages all day from extended family members and family friends who'd seen the post. People were asking questions about why they hadn't been at such a beautiful celebration. She'd had to explain, repeatedly, that they'd chosen to go to my sister's barbecue instead. Saying it out loud to other people had apparently made her realize how it sounded. She tried to justify their decision, explaining how rare it was for my sister to host anything and how they'd thought I would understand. She pointed out that I was married now, that I had my own family, and didn't need them the same way. I let her talk, then asked her a simple question. If the situation were reversed, if my sister had planned an anniversary celebration and I decided my casual dinner party was more important, how would that have made her feel? She didn't answer immediately. My sister arrived while Mom was still there, and the conversation became even more heated. She was still insisting that I'd manipulated the situation to make them look bad, that posting those photos had been a deliberate attack on the family. I pulled out my phone and showed them the original invitation I'd sent weeks earlier. I reminded them of their enthusiastic responses, the promises to be there, the conversations about what food to serve and what flowers to choose. I asked them to explain exactly what had changed between then and Saturday night. My sister finally admitted that she'd been planning her housewarming for weeks, but hadn't told anyone because she wanted it to be spontaneous. When Saturday came around, she'd decided it was the perfect time to show off her new place. She'd called everyone that morning, convincing them that my anniversary could be celebrated any time, but her housewarming was a once-in-a-lifetime event. The selfishness of it was staggering. My dad arrived as the conversation was reaching its peak, and his presence only made things worse. He was still maintaining that I'd overreacted, that families should stick together instead of airing grievances on social media. He seemed genuinely confused about why I was so upset about what he considered a minor change of plans. That's when my wife, who'd been quietly listening from the kitchen, finally spoke up. She reminded them that this wasn't just my anniversary, it was hers too. She'd been excited to celebrate with my family, had bought a special dress, and helped plan every detail. She'd watched me get my heart broken in real time when Dad laughed about their absence. Her voice was calm but firm as she explained how much the evening had meant to both of us, how much their presence would have mattered. She pointed out that we'd paid for their meals, reserved their seats, planned activities they would enjoy. The room fell silent. My mom was the first to crack. She admitted that they'd made a mistake, that they'd gotten caught up in the excitement of my sister's last-minute plans without considering how their absence would affect us. She apologized, but then immediately followed up by asking me to take down the social media post. That's when I realized they still didn't get it. They weren't sorry about missing our anniversary. They were sorry about getting caught looking like bad family members on social media. The apology was damage control, not genuine remorse. I told them the post would stay up because everything in it was true. I had been surrounded by amazing people who cared enough to celebrate with us. If they had a problem with how that made them look, they should consider whether their actions had been worth it. My sister started arguing again, but Dad cut her off. He asked what I wanted from them, what it would take to resolve this situation. His tone suggested he was looking for a quick fix, a way to make the drama disappear without actually addressing the underlying issue. I told them I wanted them to understand that actions have consequences. They'd chosen to prioritize a casual barbecue over a milestone celebration they'd committed to attending. I'd chosen to surround myself with people who actually wanted to be there. Both choices had results they'd have to live with. The conversation went in circles for another hour. They wanted me to admit I'd been wrong to post the photos, to acknowledge that I'd been manipulative and vindictive. I wanted them to understand how deeply they'd hurt us and why their priorities had been so devastating. Neither side was willing to budge. Update 1. The family drama didn't end with that confrontation. Over the following weeks, I started hearing from other family members who'd been gradually learning the full story. My aunt called to express her disappointment in my parents and sister, admitting she'd always thought there was something off about their sudden change of plans that Saturday. She revealed something that made the betrayal even worse. My sister had been planning her housewarming for over a month, but had deliberately kept it secret until the day of my anniversary. She wanted to see if she could pull people away from my celebration, treating it like some kind of sick competition. My uncle reached out separately, expressing his regret about missing our anniversary. He'd been told by my dad that we'd decided to postpone the celebration, that it wasn't happening anymore. He'd only learned the truth when he saw my social media post and started asking questions. The lies were deeper than I'd realized. More family members came forward with similar stories. My cousin had been told we'd changed the date. My grandmother thought the celebration had been canceled due to illness. Each person who'd been planning to attend had received a different excuse, carefully crafted to ensure they wouldn't question the absence or try to contact us directly. My sister had orchestrated the entire thing. This revelation changed everything. What I'd initially seen as thoughtless prioritization was actually deliberate sabotage. She'd systematically undermined our celebration while positioning her own event as the only option available. When I confronted my parents with this information, their response was telling. Instead of expressing outrage at my sister's manipulation, they tried to minimize it. Mom suggested that maybe my sister had just been excited about her new house and hadn't thought through the implications. Dad claimed that the details didn't matter since everyone had ended up having a good time at the barbecue. Their willingness to excuse her behavior while continuing to blame me for my response spoke volumes about the family dynamics I'd been dealing with my entire life. I realized that this pattern had been repeating throughout our relationship. My sister's wants and needs always took precedence, and everyone else was expected to accommodate her without complaint. My parents had become so accustomed to enabling her behavior that they couldn't recognize how destructive it had become. Update 2. 3 months after the anniversary incident, my wife and I made a decision that had been building for weeks. We announced that we were planning to move to another state, where she'd been offered a promotion that would advance her career significantly. The timing wasn't entirely coincidental. While the job opportunity was real and beneficial, we'd also been feeling increasingly isolated from my family. The anniversary situation had revealed cracks in our relationships that couldn't be easily repaired. My parents' reaction was immediate and intense. They accused us of running away from our problems, of abandoning the family over a single incident. They seemed to view our move as the ultimate vindictive act, proof that I'd been planning to punish them all along. I tried to explain that the anniversary wasn't a single incident. It was a symptom of much larger issues that had been building for years. The systematic lies, the enabling of my sister's manipulative behavior, the complete disregard for my wife's feelings. These were patterns that wouldn't change just because we'd had one difficult conversation. My sister's response was particularly revealing. She seemed almost relieved that we were leaving, as if our absence would eliminate the source of family tension. She made comments about how things would be more peaceful without my drama, and how maybe now family gatherings could be enjoyable again. Her relief confirmed what I'd suspected. She saw me as competition rather than family, and our departure was her victory. The move became final when my grandmother, the one family member I'd always felt understood me, took my parents' side in the conflict. She called to express her disappointment in my decision to leave, suggesting that I was letting pride overcome family loyalty. When even she couldn't see how deeply I'd been hurt, I knew there was no point in fighting anymore. Update 3. We've been in our new state for 6 months now, and the distance has provided clarity I didn't expect. Without the constant drama and manipulation, my wife and I have been able to focus on building our own traditions and relationships. We've made friends with our neighbors, joined community groups, and created the kind of supportive environment I'd always wanted but never quite achieved with my biological family. Last month, we celebrated our 6th anniversary with a small dinner party attended by people who genuinely wanted to be there. The contrast couldn't have been more stark. My family occasionally reaches out, usually around holidays or special occasions, but their messages feel performative rather than genuine. They ask about our lives and express hopes that we'll visit soon, but there's no acknowledgement of the issues that drove us apart. It's as if they expect time to have erased the hurt without any real resolution. My sister got engaged recently, and the wedding planning has apparently created new family drama. According to my aunt, who still keeps in touch despite my parents' disapproval, my sister is demanding an elaborate celebration that's stretching everyone's resources. She's also made it clear that she expects us to attend, despite our strained relationship. The assumption that we'll drop everything for her wedding, after she deliberately sabotaged our anniversary, perfectly encapsulates the family dynamics I'm grateful to have escaped. I haven't decided whether we'll attend the wedding. Part of me wants to maintain the distance we've created, while another part wonders if this might be an opportunity for genuine reconciliation. My wife has made it clear that she'll support whatever decision I make, but I can see the relief in her eyes when I talk about staying away. The social media post that started this entire conflict is still up, and occasionally someone new discovers it and leaves a comment. I've never added context or explanation. The photos speak for themselves. They show a couple surrounded by people who chose to celebrate with them, creating memories that matter more than biological connections. Sometimes the family you choose is more real than the family you're born into. That anniversary taught me the difference between people who show up and people who make excuses. The caterers, photographer, and hall manager who stayed to celebrate with complete strangers showed me more genuine care than the relatives who'd known me my entire life. Looking back, I'm grateful for that empty banquet hall. It forced me to see clearly what I'd been making excuses for, what I'd been accepting as normal when it was anything but. The photos from that night represent the moment I stopped waiting for my family to choose me and started choosing people who actually wanted to be chosen. That's worth celebrating.